Okay, I think this is day 4 of doing a monologue every day for 7 days. And today I decided to, and this is a learning experience. It's hard to differentiate between me being just unskilled and these monologues being bad. I think it's a little bit of both. They're probably like free, open source. Maybe they're not open source. I don't know. But the whole point of it is learning. I'm recognizing I have a little bit of allergies / upper respiratory infection. So I took Benadryl last night to sleep, and oof. You should not do that all the time because I believe there's some evidence that if you regularly take Benadryl to sleep, there's some evidence. There's some like resonance in this room. But here, I'll crack this window. There's some evidence that it increases your risk for Alzheimer's, I believe. And it probably interrupts REM sleep. But boy, for me, I think like once a week, I need to sleep like fucking 10 or 11 hours. I slept like truly, I don't think I moved. And I was very hungover from the Benadryl, but I feel so much better. I think I'm just such a person who's so sort of kinetic all the time that even when I'm like having a rest day, I'm still kind of moving around a lot. And so to truly down-regulate for that long is something I need. So today I decided I read the monologue one time, and I also found someone who does some has vocal warm-ups. So I did like this 20-minute vocal warm-up, which feels good anyway. I did some voice lessons with someone to do with the McKenzie method, something like the McKenzie method. No, that's the river near where I live. The McGillicuddy method, the McGillicuddy method for vocal warm-ups. That's not a McGillicuddy accent, but just let's see. I don't remember. McGuire method, some sort of method. But today, so I'm gonna do my monologue. I'm gonna try to do it in the voice I think of the accent of this actor, even though it's not great. And then I watched another thing that recommended for actors to pick a monologue. He said pick 4 monologues. I'm not a working actor. Yesterday I said I feel like I don't have time. I only have 5 minutes a day. And then I watched 4 hours of YouTube videos and Hacks, which is a very good show. I'm enjoying it. So clearly I have time. And yes, I need downtime to just sort of let my mind go, but I don't need 4 hours. Maybe I need 4 hours on a rest day. I don't know. Point being, I could do 30 minutes. And if I don't have 30 minutes, then I can just say, oh, I only have 5 minutes. I'll do 5 minutes. I have this daily routine that I'm about 70% adhered on, called CROWS, which stands for cold, read, outside, write, and sit. So cold used to mean like cold showers or cold plunge. Now I just put I'll just let myself just put cold water on my face and call that cold. Sometimes I'll put an ice pack on my face, ice pack on my chest, something to sort of down regulate a little bit. And then for writing, the reading, I'm allowing that to be a little broad, a little broad, and the little broad, it can mean, in this case, the reading is doing this, it's doing the acting stuff outside, go for a walk, go running, go climbing, go sit in the sun, just physically be outside for 30 minutes is the goal. All of these, I'm allowing myself to just do a minimum of 5 minutes. So I at least do it every day. So I have zero excuse. And I don't have to do them in order. I don't have to do them when I first wake up. Ideally, on a rest day, I get up and I just do all of them in order, which is kind of arbitrary because it spells crows, but I get them done. And it does kind of work out, the cold water on my face when I wake up, and then immediately do some reading, and then get outside, and then do some writing, which these days I'm studying. I already took and passed the CFRN, which is a certified flight registered nurse certification for my flight nursing career. However, I like barely passed the test, passed about like one question. So I signed up for this study program again, and so I just do study questions every day until I'm regularly getting hot. Just I figure I should just keep doing it until there's like 1,000 questions in there. That seems really useful, and there's really excellent um, rationalizations, not rationalizations, but the explanations of the questions. It goes through all the answers, so very useful. So it's a very good study method because I can take these questions, see the ones I get wrong, see those as areas of weakness, and then I use Obsidian, which is this note-taking app, take notes on it, and that sort of note, sort of wiki, almost like a Wikipedia, like a personal Wikipedia of my studying is growing. And then just sitting meditation, and I let myself do that as literally sitting on a cushion for 5 to 20 minutes. Or yesterday I was so exhausted I just laid in my recliner on the porch and meditated. So anyway, so I'm going to keep doing this for 7 days because that was the plan. And then I'm going to pick 2 monologues, a contemporary one and a classical one. I've never done any. I guess maybe in high school I had to memorize. I don't know if I had to memorize, but Shakespeare was probably the last time I read anything classical. Maybe there's some monologues from literature that would be cool. And then something contemporary, maybe from a movie that I really like. So that's the plan. Maybe I'll do, oh, that's fun to think about. No one has watched any of these, but if anyone happens to be watching this and has any recommendations, give me some recommendations. Maybe something that might be easier for the kind of person I am. Okay, this is called The Loss. The best thing and this one is actually a Southern person, so I'm trying to do a proper Southern accents without it being a shtick. The best thing that ever happened in my marriage was the birth of my beloved daughter. My wife and I provided her with a comfortable home life in an upscale suburb. She's my Georgia peach, and it was a joy to watch her grow up. She was a beautiful and popular high school senior on the honor roll with a very bright future. And my wife and I felt privileged to have such an accomplished child. My wife has multiple sclerosis, and when her condition required special attention, Georgia immediately stepped up to the plate and helped out as much as possible. I couldn't imagine living life without her, and I started drinking again to cope with the stress of it all. But Georgia handled it all as if she had been down that tragic road before in a past life. As my wife's condition declined, keeping a solid roof over our head became my main priority, and my attention to Georgia declined as well. I thought it was strange that there were more forks than spoons in the kitchen. Spoons had gone missing. Where were they? I asked my wife, and she had no clue. I knocked on Georgia's door and inquired, but she didn't answer. I knew she was behind the door, and she ignored me, and I will not be ignored in my own house. And the door was locked, and I demanded she open it by the count of 10. And then she didn't open the door by 10, and I kicked it in. And that's when I saw my precious Georgia peach lying in bed with a bloody syringe in her vein. And there was a spoon and a lighter on the nightstand, and I couldn't believe what 2 and 2 meant together. And I rushed to her, and I tried to slap her awake to no avail. And I held her tightly in my arms, and I told her how much I loved her, but it wasn't enough to bring her back to life. Kindle just turned off for no apparent reason. It just wasn't enough to bring her back to life, to bring her back to me. She had all my attention then, but it was too late to give her what heroin had given her and taken away from her and taken away from me. Okay, why do I think this is bad? The spoon thing? You don't need multiple spoons if you're, I've had my challenges with alcohol, which was easy to resonate with. I tried to connect with that. And I've had loss in my life. I've lost people in my life. I've seen many patients die in front of me from drug-related causes. And I've seen many if parents suffer the loss of their children in the emergency department, in the resus bay. It's become more standard practice to, in the emergency department, if you are coding someone, especially if it seems like they are not going to make it, and especially if it seems like someone who is young and otherwise healthy, who you might expect to make it, or if you, for whatever reason, your impression is the family is going to have a really hard time understanding or accepting how they've died, it's become more common to bring the family into the code when you call it, and that is really hard. So I try to access that a little bit. The spoon thing, it's distractingly, maybe that is a thing. It just seems like you would take one spoon and just use the same spoon over and over again, but it's neither here nor there. And that is part of, like, if I truly want to be an actor, I'm going to get some roles where the writing is going to feel weird, so I need to give it my all. And who knows, maybe Georgia. What if they're not Southern and they just named their daughter Georgia? They're like from Minnesota or something. My little Georgia peach. Yeah, so anyway, so there we go, there's that. I think that's 3 to go, and while I'm doing my next 3, I will plan, this is much longer, I will plan my next. So this has been like an hour spent on this today, so I will not have this much time in the future, but there you go. Thanks for watching if anybody's watching, and good job future me if you're watching this, seeing how far you came.